Men who knowingly slept with married women, what pushed you to do it? Postscriptum edit, I regret making this thread already. She was in an open relationship with her husband, but apparently the husband didn't think his wife would actually do it and intended to just have fun by himself. So he was very mad at us when he learnt about it. So many husbands think that, but usually the wives get laid and the husbands are sitting at home sulking. Lol. Her fiance is a serial cheater and she wanted to get back at him. Happened to me too. She told me she had a boyfriend a day before we did it. After having sex, she told me it was revenge. She would later invite me to bars where she was with him and introduce me as a friend. Even took me to their home where I learned they lived together. She hit on me and it was the first time a woman actually made a move on me. I wanted to be wanted. I regret it. I wouldn't recommend it. Honestly, you are one of the more innocent cases, oh this thread lol. Sorry to hear about that. I was in a rough relationship and in a rough place mentally. Doesn't excuse my actions, but I was just down. The high made me feel incredible. It can get addicting quick. We were roommates back in our 20s and always remained close. She had married a guy and their plan was for her to enter a career in music history, instrument restoration. Instead, he plowed forward into his career in finance and she became a housewife Sam to 2 autistic kids. She was living a life she had not agreed to and was not into. I'll spare further details, but he was a bad husband in a variety of ways, including sexually. When she started hinting to me that she might be looking for something on the side to avoid going crazy, I was wondering if she meant me. We'd had a couple of sleepovers in each other's room back in the day after all. She did in fact mean me. I was into it. It isn't my job to police other people's relationships, and I don't have any particular reverence for the institution of marriage itself. We kept it on the down low for a few years, then they moved to a different part of the world. We're still in touch. I love her. We were both horny, and she's my wife. What more do you want? Came to judge comments, leaving with a smile and a warm, wholesome feeling. Thank you. She was hot and her husband was cool with it. Second time, dude wanted to borrow a DVD and offered his wife in return. She was down for it. My wife's divorce wasn't final when we met and got together despite them being separated for a year, so technically I was sleeping with a married woman then too. What in the ghetto is the situation about the DVD? Borrower's wife is not worth the Blu-ray. I was 19 and she was 35 with 2 kids. Apparently they were already splitting up or in the process, and she just wanted to get railed because the dude had a complex about his small dick and couldn't get it hard, so she was sexless for a long time. Right place at the right time. She was a long-time customer at my work and we always were shooting the shit. She came into my work and asked if I was single. I was, and then asked if I wanted to play. I did. And at that age, I was not really thinking about the situation, just that I was getting to have sex. Apparently they were already splitting up or in the process. This is a common lie that cheaters tell their affair partners. Can confirm married guy I was involved with would tell me this and how we don't have sex anymore, and I've decided I'm going through with the divorce. Next minute, she's pregnant and he wants me to emotionally support him and stick around. I noped right out of there. I'm not stupid. I know how babies are made. Apparently it was only one time they had sex when they were both super drunk. He was my older manager and always put us on shifts together, and made me stick around while he would lock up every night, then love bomb me with texts when I wasn't at work. Looking back, it wasn't just his wife he was manipulating. Hey friend, do you want to get more interesting information from around the internet? Join our Telegram channel where we also publish unincluded materials from our videos. The link in description below. I was young and just out of college. She was in her mid-30s. At first I didn't know she was married. We dated for a while, and when I eventually found out, I chose to continue seeing her. I was fairly naive in my mid-20s and I probably should have caught on sooner. One time we met up for drinks, and when I walked her to her car, I saw a kid's car seat in the back. I asked her about it and she played it off. I didn't mind dating single mothers. I figured she was embarrassed by it. I left it alone. However, I had been to her place before. There was no signs of kids or a family, so I was a little confused. A few dates later, we're eating on a restaurant's outdoor patio, and a guy she knew stopped to talk. He mentioned that he ran into her husband a couple days before. He said it in a way that was very, I see what you're doing here. That's when I asked directly for what was going on. She said she was married with kids. She was separated from her husband. We hadn't been going to her house. Instead, we were going to a friend's house who knew she was dating someone outside of her marriage. In my mid-20s, I guess I didn't have the experience to spot the red flags. I don't know why I decided to keep seeing her. She was great to talk to, and dating was awesome. But her husband definitely didn't know about me. She made it clear she wanted nothing serious. I wouldn't say I was a homewrecker, but it's probably probably the right term, and I'm in denial. We dated off and on for about 2-3 years. That was approximately 15 years ago. We're still friends on social media, and I saw she's back with her husband. They never officially divorced. Now that I'm 40, married with kids, I can totally understand the position she was in. I've even been there myself. I think a lot of relationships struggle when they have young kids. I'm not sure what caused the rift in her relationship, but whatever it was, she felt that she couldn't be appreciated by her spouse. Overall, it's probably one of the few relationships that has taught me so much, even long after we stopped talking. Being in that relationship was a blessing and a curse. It was amazing being with an older woman for all the stereotypical reasons. On the other hand, I was surprised how easy it is for a married person to step out on their relationship, which has caused some irrational fears and anxiety in the relationships that followed. I think from the experience, my own marriage, and seeing friends in similar places, I've realized, first, long-term relationships really hard, and every relationship goes through very challenging times. Every relationship will hit a point where a breakup, divorce, is justified. It's just up to the people in it to decide to continue or not. Second, everyone is seeking to have some need fulfilled in their relationship. The unfortunate truth is unmet needs place partners in a position where they can remain unhappy or be unethical. Some people can remain unhappy for a while, but they won't remain there forever. Ooh, for the piece of shit person I was. No excuses, though I rationalized it at the time. I'm not pursuing her, she's throwing herself at me. Her husband is a piece of shit. Karma got me back hard, several times. I'll never knowingly do it again. What's the karma that hit you back? I got cheated on multiple times after that. Women are great liars as well, just saying. My brother fell victim to that whole she's a open relationship bullshit. Her husband found out. Clearly it wasn't true. My brother was victim 5. The dude took his wife's phone. She thought she had lost it. So he went and found the blokes and talked to them. Never raised his fists. Most of the blokes were apologetic apparently. One was a young dude, thought he was at shit in a bit. His arse was handed to him, confronted my brother. No violence happened as my brother is 6 feet 6 inches tall and built like a brick shithouse. My brother took him down the pub and bought the dude a counter meal and beer. They are good mates now. The dude divorced his wife and kept the kids. He has now since remarried to another woman 6 years and counting, and they're a blended family, 8 kids in total. I read a study a few years back that concluded that men cheat more and women are excellent at hiding it. Sorry to hear about your brother, man. I didn't like her husband. I loved the pettiness. I was 17, she was 49. She was married to a wealthy man, not saying the profession. They had been together for about 4-5 years at this point, no kids if I remember correctly. We worked at a seasonal type job. She did it for the fun and perks. I did it for spending money like all 17-year-olds. She joked around a lot about working for something to do. Most of the workers were either high school, college, or 30. Something's doing it for the perks, spending money. Anyway, one night she took me home but had to stop at her house first and do something. She was very generous and kept asking me if I needed a drink or anything while I waited. I sat down on the couch, she joined me. It started with her sitting on the couch with me and it ended with sex. It was kind of weird honestly how it all happened when I look back on it. A few days later she quit the job and I never saw her again in person. One night a few days later she called me and said what we did was a one-time thing and all but it would never happen again. I did it because I had broken up with my high school girlfriend right before Thanksgiving. We were both seniors. Ironically, we got back together and dated again after Christmas break till I went to basic training. The sex with married woman happened over Christmas break. This all happened over almost 3 decades ago. As a much older person, I realize how stupid it was. Jesus, 49? That sounds very predatory on her part. No one else is saying it. The thought of being the bad guy in the scenario absolutely turned me on. I regret it now, many years later, but it was all a kink. Exactly one other comment said they did because of the ego of taking someone's wife. You're right. Appreciate the honesty, mate. I'm just a terrible person. Was younger, 20, I think. Lost my job and was sleeping in the back of my pickup truck. Coworker found me and invited me to his place. Hella cool dude. Bought me beer and smokes while I figured my shit out. Dude's wife was a Zumba. I think that's the name of the dance workout place. Teacher, and flirted with me. My insecure, stupid ass liked not feeling like shit, so I flirted back. It escalated and we went at it for a few days, weeks, can't remember well. While dude was at work, ended up picking up everything I owned and bailing to a different state, found out they were already on the path to divorce, and I wasn't the reason but the catalyst. Felt less shitty by trying to validate my actions by feeling like I made her feel like she was worthy of love and happiness. I don't fucking know, just a shitty section of my life. Drugs were involved afterwards, with a healthy downward spiral and more homelessness. Got my shit together now, mostly. Beautifully long laundry list of fuck-ups that I can never fix. Her husband went on a 3-month 4x4 holiday with his boys, leaving her behind with their son. They owned the shop where I used to buy my favorite cigarettes. My friend suggested to her that we should date since she always smiled at me. She came to my place and boom, it just happened. And again and again. When the husband came back, she convinced him to take us all out on a dinner with her family. It felt so awkward. Their mouth was very convincing. Also didn't know they were married until after the fact. You don't ask if someone is in a relationship if you don't intend on dating them. Also didn't know they were married until after the fact. Well, technically, that means you didn't knowingly sleep with a married woman. Interesting you say this, because if I'm out at a bar or club and a girl walks up to me, the first thing she asks 70% of the time is, "Are you single?" My first trip to China, she was the friend of my friend's wife. They all thought the husband was a complete loser. The dude regularly berated his wife about her looks and size despite her being fit and beautiful. Dude ended up abandoning her and her child to get a sex change and start a new life a year later. No regrets on my end. Amending this to note that I may have been a bit crass. Sex change is how it was described to me at the time. This woman's partner was an ass. Post-transition, I hope she is a better version of herself. Piece of shit partner though. Sounds like a bit of projecting. He was just jealous of his wife's look before he became she. Thank you very much for watching. In the comments below, share your story if you knowingly slept with married women, what pushed you to do it, and also don't forget to watch our other videos and subscribe to the channel. Hugged you all. Bye.